let's talk about the Rays because there is a lot of drama going on with their ballpark, and it's just getting worse for them. So ultimately, what this comes down to, and we're going to get to why and how this works, but owner Stu Sternberg might be forced to sell the team. This is according to, I believe, it was an article out of the Athletic.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's where a lot of this. That's where a lot of it I got.
So this comes down to Sternberg. He was thinking about considering backing out of the deal to build a new ballpark in St. Petersburg. It's down in the gas plant district downtown. They had a spot, they had renderings, everything looked like things were going smoothly, but then there was a delay in the county voting. It was almost like they had the support, then they needed to vote on it, but then the vote was delayed. And then by the time that happened, prices in real estate went up. And so
and in materials and everything else.
Right. Just like everything else is going up,
everything's going up right now. Of course it is.
Okay. Yep. So the Rays $700 million that they agreed to contribute, not enough anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem because, as we know, Stu Sternberg doesn't like to spend a whole lot of money.
Uh-huh.
And to be fair,
I don't
know his net worth. I'm going to look real quick.
It's more than he needs.
Oh, I can guarantee you that. But I don't know. He has a net worth. This is according to Celebrity Net Worth. I don't know how viable this is, but they say he has a net worth of $800 million.
Well, and all 700 is not coming out of his personal pocket.
No, I understand that, but at the same time, though, like I can seeing that, I can see why he's cheaper, on the cheaper side.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah. He doesn't have the deep pockets of Steve Cohen, of Steinbrenners, of even John Stanton, who is just notoriously cheap despite having the money. Right. So while it makes sense, it's like if you're gonna buy a boat, you've got to be able to afford to upkeep the boat.
Right.
That's the way it goes. Same thing with the Major League Baseball franchise. So here's the thing with this. At least two ownership groups have already announced themselves as possible replacements because there's a possibility of him being forced to sell. And you might be thinking, can they force him to sell? Absolutely, they can.
You hit the nail on the head with the term franchise.
Yes.
Major League Baseball owns the ball club.
Yes.
Basically.
And essentially, yeah, that's what it comes down to.
That's the easiest way to break it down. Yeah.
So, but I mean, you don't have to look any further than the NBA. What was about a decade ago with Donald Sterling, the old racist who owned the Clippers.
I don't know.
Some stuff
I don't
came
watch
out.
The NBA.
Players protested him before a game.
Whoa.
Straight up protested. They put their warm-up jerseys at half court and said, "We're not going to play as long as he's the owner." I think they ended up playing anyway, but there was a whole thing, and the NBA forced him to sell. And now, what's his name? Microsoft guy.
That's him. That's the one.
Can't remember. It's not Bill Gates. It's not Paul Allen. It's the other guy.
Jeff Bezos.
No, that's Amazon.
Oh, that's Amazon. Yeah.
It's right on the tip of my tongue, Brig. Steve Ballmer now owns the Clippers. He was the one who bought him from Donald Sterling. And granted, because Sterling owned the Clippers, and for whatever billion-dollar number that Ballmer bought them for, Sterling got to keep the money because it's his team, right? Sure. That only makes sense. So even if Stu Sternberg is forced to sell the team for, say, $2.4 billion, just throwing a number out there, I have no idea what the Rays are worth right now.
Seems
but
realistic.
If he sells for $2.4 billion, Stu Sternberg gets to keep, if he owns 90% of the team, he gets to keep 90% of that because it was his team, even though MLB forced him out. So they can do this. It very well could happen. So apparently there's a deadline for this by the end of March. That's like
it's all got to get worked out. Whatever is going to happen. He's got like 20 days, 19 or 20 days to work stuff out.
Yeah, so according to David Sampson, Manfred could pull revenue shares from the Rays for failure to follow the fine print as a franchisee. So that would be enormous because
that's a summary of what
so heavily
Yeah.
on that revenue sharing for everything. So
Yeah.
that would be bad news bears for the Rays.
That's a summary of what Sampson said, and he did a much better job. You should go listen to It's Nothing Personal, but
he not only is it because he's been in the game, but he understands the business of things. So he does a great job of explaining all that stuff, being a lawyer and everything. So anyway, coming up this season, though, remember that the Rays are going to be playing outdoors because they don't have a stadium to play in because of the hurricane. This will be the first time they're playing exclusively outdoor outdoor home games since their inaugural season in 1998. One of the questions is how many rainouts will there be because the rain rolls in the afternoon on the Gulf Coast, and the grounds crew is going to have to learn how to be. I'm sure they already are efficient, but it's time to see how efficient they can be getting the field ready.
You bring up a good point. I wonder whether they will retain the grounds crew from the Steinbrenner facility, or what
they're going to have to,
or are they going to bring in the Rays grounds crew from the Trop?
Wonder. So
that'd be interesting.
I would think that they would retain the Steinbrenner Field crew because they're the ones who maintain that. I wonder if they would integrate the grounds crew from the Trop. I'm not assuming.
That's a great question, though, isn't it?
Millionaire like Sternberg is going to allow people to keep their jobs just out of the goodness of his heart. But I would think that it would help to have a few extra hands on deck, right? To make sure that you get things ready. Because if you don't play games, you run into problems, and you don't want to be playing a bunch of doubleheaders in August, because that's not good for your team. So I would think they would bring at least some over just to have more hands on deck to help get the field ready, because they're going to be scrambling a lot of those days, I feel like.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree.
So now, something that's kind of... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to jump into this because there's some really interesting stuff going on here. The renovation crew is comprised of 50 installers, 80 Rays staffers, and this group is brought together from 5 different companies and they have 120 hours basically to turn Steinbrenner Field into a Rays facility instead of a Yankees facility. So from March 23rd to March 28th, they got to install everything. And they got to cover everything else up. And they got to change all the signage. I saw a report that said there are some 3,000 pieces of unique signage pieces that need to be implemented or installed or temporarily whatever they're going to do. And I'm like, what? Somebody wrote that it was, if you lined them all up side by side, they'd run a mile with how much signage they've got to put up. I thought that was really interesting.
So I will say this about that, is that I've seen not to this level, but I've seen a college stadium get converted into a minor league stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And with where we went to school, and then the minor league team that played there during the summer, because I had covered our school, and then when I went to working for the minor league team, and it was within like 3 days. I hardly recognized the place because I just assumed that they were going to leave certain things there. Brig, there was nothing.
Right. No,
there was nothing from the college team, that none of the banners, nothing. It was all converted over to the minor league team, and I was kind of like, that was really fast. And like I said, it's not quite to the magnitude of the Rays, but I was shocked at what they did and how fast they did it.
Well, so, I think at that school, at that facility, everybody knew the score, and everybody knew it was going to get shared pretty early on. And so I think what happened is the university just didn't put up a lot of signage. There wasn't tons of...
They had a ton of signage.
No, it wasn't. Yes. Not to the degree that we're talking about here.
I was there 4 days a week, plus some, from February until the end of May into June.
You were the only one there. You were the only one there.
And I may have been, but I was there, and I saw it. I saw all of it. There were banners. There was signage everywhere. It was
Yeah.
it was almost a 1-to-1 swap out.
That's crazy. Well, all right.
Dugouts, clubhouses, all of it.
That's crazy. I just don't know that 3 days. They have 5 here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they can do it. And I don't think
Yeah,
they'll even
do
have to
it.
work around the clock to do it. I think it'll probably be 10 to 12 hour days, but it'll happen.
Yeah, that
It'll
sounds
get done.
right. Well,
But yeah, they're not going to have to pull a bench warmers like, we got 24 hours to build the stadium. Right?
no way. Yeah, it's
Like
not going to happen like that.
They'll get it done though. I'm not worried. I will say though, 120 hours makes it sound super daunting. That's 5 days.
Yeah,
that's 5 full days. They'll get it done. Anyway.
I listed that on here because that's how the article I read listed it, and I liked it. It was punchy, so I borrowed it.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's got some shock value to it too.
For sure.
So it's good. It's good, but it'll get done. It'll be fine. And the team store needs to get restocked. I think that'll probably be the last thing that happens. They're
yeah,
not
I was
going
to
to
say they're not going to worry about that.
Oh, get the T-shirts on the hangers.
Yeah,
they'll be doing that as people are walking into opening day. Oh, you want a T-shirt? Yeah, okay, here you go. I don't have to hang that one.
What size?
That's that's like when you're folding laundry and you're like, oh yeah, I want to wear this shirt, and you put it on. One less thing to do.